fabulous to fast. Jennifer, didn't you meet up with one man who just cannot slow down?
Yeah, I actually met with Richard Croxall. He lives here in El Segundo, and he actually lives a really fast-paced life. But not only that, he has some really fast cars. Take a look.
Ooh, zoom, zoom.
If you know Richard Croxall, you know he's always on the go. Richard was raised in Arcadia, where his dad first sparked his interest in cars.
When I grew up in the San Gabriel Valley, cars were everything to a 16-year-old boy. So I grew up in the car culture, and I could take cars apart and put them back together by the time I was 17 years old.
At 15 and a half years old, his dad bought him his first car, this 1950s Oldsmobile Rocket 88, but he couldn't drive it until he was 16. Richard drove that car all through high school and went to college.
I was probably the fourth or fifth graduating class from Cal Poly Pomona.
In 1963, he graduated with a BS in mechanical engineering. A year later, Richard moved to the South Bay to work for TRW Redondo Beach, where he met Nancy.
When I met her, she was playing with one of my best friends in the TRW tennis tournament. And she was cute and funny, and she's a very good tennis player, and I was immediately attracted to her.
It took a second meeting for Nancy to remember Richard. After many dates and playing tennis matches together, they married in 1969. The couple then moved to El Segundo, where they raised their two boys, Robert and Daniel.
With his support, he's always been very supportive. It just made for a real solid relationship.
While working full-time as an engineer, Richard always made time for his family. There were two things that especially kept them close: cars and sports.
I also coached all of their baseball teams from T-ball all the way through American Legion, so we were around together a lot.
Already with the full schedule, Richard volunteered at the Recreations Parks Commission and was chairman for 7 years. He was also a member of the El Segundo School Board.
It's a mixture of professional activities and things I like to do. I think you kind of need both to keep going.
In 1999, he became vice president at TRW, now Northrop Grumman Corporation, a position that soon earned him the recognition of Distinguished Alumni of the Year at Cal Poly Pomona.
I looked around to see if they were talking to me. I don't know. I just know the deans really well. I think maybe because I was the highest ranking Cal Poly Pomona person at Northrop and TRW.
Even with his many awards, nothing could put the brakes on Richard and keep him from his cars, an interest his sons also had at a young age.
We've kind of done this as a family. It's not as close as we used to be when they were all living here, but over the years I'd say we've probably had 12 or so special interest cars, 15 maybe, and they've come and gone. Some of them are still here, but that's something that our sons and I have done together.
Richard's love for cars doesn't end here. He spends lots of his time now at the El Segundo Automobile Driving Museum.
One thing we do on these older cars, if they're purely original, never been touched, never been painted, never been upgraded, we keep them that way because there's not very many true original cars around anymore. So the idea with this one is just to preserve it.
In 2005, Richard retired from Northrop Grumman, began looking for something to keep him busy, and through a friend became a lead docent at the Peterson Automobile Museum in West LA. In 2007, a friend started the El Segundo Automobile Driving Museum. Richard now volunteers here.
It's partly my history with cars, special cars, ever since I was little, and interest in cars today. And then also I was the chief engineer at Northrop Grumman, so I'm an engineer basically, and I know a lot about the cars. So it was a natural fit to do this kind of thing.
A perfect fit was exactly what it was. After several years of being lead docent at the museum, he became the special events coordinator. He also leads the cleaning crew.
Dick's also a wonderful evangelist for the museum within the community. So I had met him when I first came in here, and to be quite honest with you, he saved me and helped me integrate in here and keep people volunteering to work here.
Even though he is retired, Richard has a busy schedule once again, consulting for aerospace and Northrop Grumman, and as of last year became one of the principal investors of his son's new business in town. He also helps his son at the job.
It's things like doing the milling of the grain for the brew, carting all of the wet mash. It's called mash when you finally brew. It's like big coffee grounds, but they weigh 300 pounds. Taking all of that out, cleaning up all the grain areas, cleaning out the brew tanks and all that. And so it's mostly common labor stuff.
Dick's a very very busy retired guy, and you know, with his involvement with his son's brewery that they got going in town here now and stuff like that, I just beg him all the time to try to find time to, you know, stay with the museum, and he's committed to stay here and help me grow this thing.
Volunteering and helping anyone as much as he can is just what makes this family man who he is.
I don't think I would change anything. I would never look back and say I didn't spend enough time with my family, because that was a priority.
With the life that has so many twists and turns, Richard can shift gears at any time. But one thing's for sure, he's enjoying the ride. For El Segundo TV, I'm Jennifer Murillo.
Wow, he is really busy. Could he possibly fit anything else into his life?
Well, he tries, but if not, family's always number one. And he has 5 grandchildren he loves dearly, and he always tries to make as much time as possible for them.
So does he plan on buying any new cars soon? And if so, can I get a ride?
No, for now he has enough projects to do with. But at the El Segundo Automobile Driving Museum, on Sundays we can catch a ride with him from 10 to 3:30. Him or one of the docents can.
All right, let's go. Does he have a Benz?
They have all different type of cars we can choose from. It just depends on the Sunday it is.
All righty. Okay, well, that does it for this edition of Insight. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching.